Welcome back to my channel. So my name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. And today I had a great question in the comments, which I want to answer. And basically it's a two-part question. And the first one is, let me read it off to you. I just turned 19 and I have about $15,000 to $20,000 saved up from my normal job. What would you recommend me doing in order to start my wealth building journey? So, and then the second part of the question is, what was your financial position when you're 19 and 21 years old? How and when did your journey start? Did you live paycheck to paycheck, just building up capital from your job in order to buy your first real estate investment? So I love this question. So I kind of touched about a video I did talking about advice to my 19-year-old self. So check out that video if you haven't already. But to answer the first part, so basically he's 19 years old and he saved up $15,000 to $20,000. And I first want to pause and just acknowledge that that's very impressive, right? At 19 years old, I literally was just starting college. I was a freshman at University of Pacific in Stockton, and I didn't have any money saved up, to be honest. I didn't have the wherewithal to work. I just was there for school, right? So I just want to acknowledge that a lot of people don't have an emergency fund. Even people my age, people older than me, people are living paycheck to paycheck, right? So the fact that you have 15 to 20K, I just want you to know that what you're doing is already impressive and to keep at it, right? So what would I recommend doing for a 19-year-old who has about $20,000 saved up? And what I would say, and it's what I did, but at a much later age, is continue to build up your W-2 income if you work a W-2, right? So try to move up, whatever that looks like. If you want to move up into management, a lead position, a director position, whatever that looks like, try to move up, right? Try to increase your W-2 income. And simultaneously, while doing that, if you can, try to start a side business, right? Whether that's YouTube like me, anything, just do what you can. Or even if you can't start a side business, like just learn, like do a bunch of things, right? Like try things. This is your time when you're young. You can fail. There's no obligations. There's no risk, right? Like for me, if I failed at 19 years old, I just live at home with my parents. Right? There's no risk whatsoever. So that's kind of what I want people to realize is that, that there's literally no risk, right? There's no risk. There's only reward. Sorry, I'm going to relocate here because the sun's shining in my face. But there's literally no risk for you at 19 years old. Like worst case, if you fail, if you mess up, you lost your $20,000 savings, oh well, you're living at home and you're just like every other 19-year-old, right? So focus on developing yourself, right? Like invest in yourself, invest in the S&P Me 500, right? I heard that somewhere from another YouTuber, but you really want to invest in yourself. You want to grow, develop, take risk, and you learn the most by doing, right? Like I learned the most by buying real estate. I learned the most by taking action, right? But by not sitting on the sideline. So, for me, I'd recommend to really take action, be consistent, and learn from those who are doing what you want to do. Like if you want to buy real estate and eventually multifamily real estate, then you love following me, right? You can learn a lot from what I've done at a much younger age and have less battle scars than me, right? So that's what's really key. So now I would say keep on working your W-2. That's your safety net. That's what puts money and food on the table. That gives you a reserve fund, that gives you money to invest, to then invest in yourself, right? So, make money through W-2. Focus on increasing your W-2 over time. Focus on your savings. You've done all that. Now focus on education. Like, what do you like doing? Do you like real estate? How do you know if you like real estate? Well, you have to try, right? Like maybe some people don't like real estate at all, right? Like for me, I tried it and I liked real estate. I tried a mobile home park, failed at it, realized I didn't like it. Right? So you just have to do all these things in order to learn, right? So at 19, you have the privilege of time. You have the privilege of wanting to learn and to better yourself every day. So just focus on how can you better yourself every day. If I was 19 and with all this information, I would listen to podcasts every day like I do now, right? Like I started listening to podcasts every day starting in 2000 and I think 21, right? That was only for 3 years for me. 2020. So 4 years for me. So at 19, you obviously have a huge head start, right? So for me, if you want to go to the real estate route, I would save up for 10% down, put 10% down on a single family home, duplex, triplex, fourplex. I'm not sure what market you live in California. Duplex, triplex, fourplex is harder to come across. But you can still put 10% down on a single family home, which averages around $80,000. So $80,000 down. And then, rent out the rooms, like live in the master, rent out the rooms, right? Like you could, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Like you have a video talking about house hacking. You can watch that video and learn what I did. And then from there, that's how I would get started and compound, right? So, now kind of fast forwarding it back to me at 19, just for some context to show you how impressive you were. At 19, I was just a freshman at University Pacific, knew nothing about money, had no savings whatsoever. Didn't even have my first job yet, to be honest. I didn't have my first job until I was 21 years old as a pharmacy intern, right? I remember 18 bucks an hour at Rite Aid, back in, what was that, 2011, right? And I definitely had no savings. I definitely had no net worth. I definitely didn't have access to this type of information. I was a normal kid who went to school, just happened to be good at school. And yeah, that was really it. I didn't know anything about real estate. My family doesn't do real estate. My parents just owned the house that they lived in, that they raised us in, and they would then, move and then rent out that last house. But, I wasn't really told much, right? Like I know my mom opened up a dry cleaner and it failed. I didn't really know much what was going on, right? Like in the Asian American, at least my upbringing, they didn't really share much with me what was going on. They just kind of handled their business and I just was there, right? I didn't really learn much from it. So for me, I really had to self-educate myself. I was really hungry for knowledge. So that's kind of what I did, right? And let me see that question again. So did I live paycheck to paycheck? So not really. So my journey really started for me at 23 years old when I got my first W-2 job as a pharmacist. And I was $250,000 in student debt, right? So my net worth at 23 was negative 250K. That was where I was starting at. Albeit my first job as a pharmacist, I was making about $100,000, right? So, I'm 250K in student debt, but I am grossing 100K, which is maybe like 70K after taxes ish. So I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe my first one I was, but like for me, because I live very frugally, very humbly, I'm very thrifty and value based in terms of how I buy stuff, even to this day, despite being worth $6 million. Like, I literally went to Walmart yesterday and I'm just like, I don't notice the difference between like Walmart brand generic stuff versus like the brand name stuff, like Jif peanut butter versus Walmart peanut butter. So I just buy Walmart peanut butter because it's half the cost. Like I waste money, right? If it tastes the same. Now, if I notice the difference between Walmart peanut butter and Jif, then I'd buy Jif, right? Like by all means, I don't want to be that cheap. But like for me, if I notice no difference, might as well get the cheaper product, right? So I never really lived paycheck to paycheck, and it's because I was able to have margin. I'm not naturally a spender, right? I'm not naturally wanting really nice things. Don't get me wrong, I went through a phase. I just moved into this house and I was like, oh my God, I have like 30 pairs of shoes, of which 10 are brand new that I've never worn. And I told myself, okay, well, at least I bought shoes that, are still age appropriate today. Like it's funny, I bought shoes when I was 18 years old back in 2008 that are now trendy now in 2024. So I'm like, oh, sweet. Now it's trendy again, so I can wear it. So it's funny how it was retro, now it's back in style. Didn't really live paycheck to paycheck because I was able to, whenever I took home, if I took home $5,000, I spent $1,000, I had $4,000 margin, right? So no matter how much you make, spend less than what you make. So you have a margin, you take that margin, you save it, you build up a savings. After that, you'll invest, right? So that's what I did. And so really from 23 to 27, I just was trying to pay off my student loans, 250K of student debt. Right? So literally from 23 to 27, I just focused on living humbly, saving money, increasing my W-2 income to pay off $250,000 of student debt. That's it. And at 27, I paid off my student debt, felt good for a day or two. And I was like, what's next? And I was like, all right, well for me next is buying a single family home, which I bought $300,000 and put 10% down, which was 80K, using the same principles I used to pay off my student debt, right? Like just try to increase your W-2, make more money, spend less money, have a margin, have a savings, and use that savings to now invest, right? So that's all I really did. Like it wasn't, I mean, it sounds easy to say it now, but like, are you disciplined enough to not spend your money? Are you disciplined enough to not lifestyle inflate? And the fact that you saved 20K by 19 probably tells me, and then you're consuming my content, tells me that you probably are more inclined to be a saver than a spender, which is good. So continue to focus building your W-2 income up, continue to keep your expenses exactly the same so that when you make more money, you have a larger savings. And once you have a larger savings, you can use that to invest that money, whether it's in education for yourself, right? You can use that to invest in index funds. You can use it to invest in buying your first house hack as real estate, like what I did, right? So, and like you said, knowing that even if you fail, even if you mess up, it's okay. You're 19, right? Like you're doing way better than most 19-year-olds. Like I wish I had this mindset at 19. I really didn't start investing until I was 27. That's when I got my first real estate deal, which is like what, 8 years older than you. So, my only skill I had up until 27 was I just knew to make more money and to not spend all my money. That's literally it. And then at 27, I started learning about real estate. So definitely want to say you're ahead of the curve. So hopefully this gave you some value. Hopefully this gave you some insight. I love this question. It was a really good question. It was great to reflect back. I want to reiterate that what you're doing is very impressive already, right? Like $20,000 at 19, that's better than most people, right? Like a lot of people, adults, don't even have a savings. And even worse, they're in credit card debt, right? So the fact that you're already having 20K net worth at 19, you're way ahead of the curve, right? And if you continue this for the next 10 years until you're 29, like, oh my God, you can probably surpass me, right? Like at 29, I was probably worth like 1 to 2 million, 34, I'm now worth, 6 million. But geez, if I started at 19, I'd probably be worth $20 million plus, right? Because at 19, it was 2009, that's when the real estate market was bad, right? I could have made a killing in that time window. So please let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. If you're interested in joining my multifamily mentorship program, check out the link down below. Please share this video with somebody who can benefit from this. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.